Hi guys, and welcome back to the Ride Like Waxing and UK One Wheel channel. So what I'm going to be doing in episode 2 is fitting my KAD internal gear linkage. You've got the two brackets there. I've painted up all the new gear change mechanism. I've still got to drill the hole in the front of the bulkhead, but first off I've got to cover up this big hole. As you saw in my previous video, leaning across, I made a cardboard KAD template. I then made that out of aluminium, painted it green, not quite the same green, but it's a green, and made myself a rubber gasket. And what I'm going to do is silicone around these holes and basically fix through these 4 holes here through with brand new stainless steel screws that in place, and then I can actually start fixing the other bracket around it. So I'm going to pop you on time lapse. I've got my drill for a pilot hole, I've got my screwdriver with my fixings, I've got my silicone in place. Let's crack on. Okay, so that, I think I put rather too much sticker flex or silicone on there, but that is all well sealed now and it's screwed down super tight, all cleaned up. Like I say, that is a green match colour, would you believe, from B&Q, so not a bad colour. Just sort of put that on there. Like I say, it's only really to stop the muck and water coming up. I'm going to put a rubber bung there where the reversing cable would normally go through, just a little grommet. I've got to work out about drilling a hole in there. But now I can get on and fix the housing to the gear change mechanism. So I'm going to start fixing all this housing to the gear change mechanism. And then I can place it in, find its true home, drill some holes, pop rivets them in, and get on to the next stage. So stay tuned and we'll get on to that bit next. Okay, so the inside of the car plate is all done. I am wondering if I should have possibly put the plate from underneath, but that's a lot of crawling around and a lot of hassle. Don't tend to drive this car in the rain too much, and we'll see how that flows. Worst case, I'll take it all out. What I would like to do eventually is weld that plate in and make it a permanent feature, and all the holes. One day I'll get that Owen fabrication race body shell, but that's in many years to come. First off, we're going to be getting the engine done. Anyway, I'm waffling. We're going to get this done. As you can see, it is all painted up. We did have the broken one, nicely minging. A little bit different in condition, as you can tell. I'll gently put that in the box. So yeah, basically what we've got here is gone for the grey, gone for a high gloss black, which I've painted. That'll go on top. I've got the collar soaking. We've got all the new bits and bobs, and I've laid it out pretty much. If we start to the back, this is the bolt that holds these two together, which goes through here. These are the pop rivets that hold into the centre cross member. That is the tray that goes underneath, and the hole goes at the front. So this curvature to the left hand and near side of the gear change in a UK car. So the hole goes to the front. We've got the bolts here that hold the carrier in, which goes in here. We've got the main bolt which goes through here. I have seen people online fit it that way as well as that way round. I'm going to fit it that way around, so I'm hoping that is the correct way. We've got the screws just here that hold the cap on. We've got new roll pins. We've got in here, we've got the internal gear selector, the back roll pin, which basically sits here. Apologise for the noise in the background. Gear lever. I've cleaned up the reversing switch, as you can tell, and also the spacer for the handbrake, which basically moves the handbrake across. I've already done that, and I've made my own spacer up, not knowing that that was in the pack. So that is a billy bonus. And of course the KAD sticker that goes on to the top of the gear lever. That will be my very last job. I'm going to assemble this. I'm waffling on. Oh, and the gear change rod. I'm going to assemble this up, offer it up in the car, and then work out where I need to drill my hole into the floor. I'm going to pop it on time lapse, so stay tuned. Okay, so we've built all that up. The back roll pin was an absolute pig to get in. That was really, really tight. The front one went in a little bit easier, but I don't know if you noticed, I put the internal collar on this one just here. There's like a little seal that stops any grease coming out. I will be packing this with grease, so don't panic. The people that are going, oh, you've not put enough grease in it, I will be packing it with grease. So this is just purely for a dry fit, so I can drill the hole into in the floor to get to the back of the gearbox. So I just wanted to kind of assemble it, most of it together, get all the linkages in, and go from there. I'm not quite sure. I've got to read up on the instructions of which way this one goes round, but the length is going to be pretty much the same. So let's get into the car and mock fit this up so we can get some holes marked and we know where we're drilling, and to get the pot riveting done. Like I say, the top collar and the gaiter and all that jazz will go on later, and the reverse switch will go on later as well as. So yeah, let's get this into the car and see what's what. But otherwise, at the moment, I don't know if you can see, we've got it all working there nicely, nice and smooth, and yeah, looking good. That's all sliding backwards and forwards, good. Happy days. So yeah, like I say, I will be pumping it with the grease. Let's get inside the car. Okay, so plates all located now. Used a centre punch just to score those. Used a little 4mm drill bit. Gonna pop rivet the bracket down. I'm gonna pop you on time lapse. Get into that. I just thought I'd be a bit boring you watching me drill some holes. So we'll get onto that, and then we'll work out where the front part of it goes. So let's go. Okay, so they're all pop riveted in. We're going to have a quick look at this housing here now and try and get that symmetrical. So we're going to stick the bolt back in here and work out the best place, pulling that one forward to fit the front one. A bolt in there. Okay, so by the looks of things, we can get that pretty symmetrical there on both sides. We'll mark that up, get that drilled and put that in place. Right, back to time lapse. Okay, that is now all fixed into place. We've got to tighten up the top bolt here, just because I loosened that off, so we've got a little bit of adjustment to get that 100% square. So I've got the gap here the same as that side. That's all pop riveted in. I've got to get that bolted in. Biggest thing now is, where does the rod go? Now I'm thinking, let's have a quick look down the line here. I'm thinking, if we can pan back out a second, I'm thinking, oops, so straight down this line here, I'm thinking the hole's got to be around there, maybe a little bit over this side a bit more. Right, I'm going to get the rod, we're going to have a quick look, see what's what. I think I might drill a pilot hole, and I might try and run a bit of string from here to the actual gear lever and see how much degree of angle from the gear lever for my hole to work out if I need to go left or right. And then what I might do is, once I've got the hole, if it's absolutely spot on, is I will do some measurements and template, because I can't find this anywhere. So I could always measure it from the steering rack bolts here and here, take a line across, drop it down by so many centimeters, and that way then I can pinpoint the hole for anybody who is actually thinking of doing this. And if anybody has got that out there, by the time I've done this, it'll be way too late. Then obviously do put it out there so other people can see it. But if not, I will put it out there and we'll learn from my mistakes. So I am going to literally eyeball this. You can see my logic here. I think it's going to be somewhere around there. Oh dear. Let's drill a hole and find out. Okay, so I've got the rod out. And if we line that up there, pretty much straight from the tunnel, my first guesstimate wasn't too far off, I don't think. Which is there. It's just coming directly from above. So let's say there. I don't think I'm too far off. Right, let's stick a hole in it. Okay, that is now all fixed into place. We've got to tighten up the top bolt here, just because I loosened that off, so I've got a little bit of adjustment to get that 100% square. So I've got the gap here the same as that side. That's all pop riveted in. I've got to get that bolted in. Biggest thing now is, where does the rod go? Now I'm thinking, let's have a quick look down the line here. I'm thinking, if we can pan back out a second. Oh, I'm thinking, oops. So straight down this line here, I'm thinking the hole's got to be around there, maybe a little bit over this side a bit more. Right, I'm going to get the rod, we're going to have a quick look, see what's what. I think I might drill a pilot hole, and I might try and run a bit of string from here to the actual gear lever and see how much degree of angle from the gear lever for my hole to work out if I need to go left or right. And then what I might do is, once I've got the hole, if it's absolutely spot on, is I will do some measurements and template, because I can't find this anywhere. So I could always measure it from the steering rack bolts here and here, take a line across, drop it down by so many centimeters, and that way then I can pinpoint the hole for anybody who is actually thinking of doing this. And if anybody has got that out there, by the time I've done this, it'll be way too late. Then obviously do put it out there so other people can see it. But if not, I will put it out there, and we'll learn from my mistakes. So I am going to literally eyeball this. You can see my logic here. I think it's going to be somewhere around there. Oh dear. Let's drill a hole and find out. Okay, so I've got the rod out. And if we line that up there, pretty much straight from the tunnel, my first guesstimate wasn't too far off, I don't think. Which is there. It's just coming directly from above. So let's say there. I don't think I'm too far off. Right, let's stick a hole in it. Okay, eyeball guesstimate attempt 1. Let's go. If in doubt, flat out. Well, I have a hole. I have a hole. Right, let's hoover those metal filings up and see where we go from there. Okay, so couldn't find any string, so use some speaker wire that has a bit left over. That appears to be pretty straight, actually. Let's have a quick look from the underside. So from the underside, that's also pretty good. Quite happy with that. So I'm going to drill a bigger hole now. So let's go back to the top. Okay, so the rod's looking promising. Looks like it's kind of in line. I've got to lift this up a little bit, so I'm going to pop the pin out the back here. Again, never ever fitted one of these. Don't really know if I'm doing the right thing or not. I'm going to pop this out here. We'll just free this off a second. Just because I want to give some flexibility. Once I think I can get this on here caught on the thread, I think we'll be quite good to go. So let's drop that out of there a minute, pop the bolt back in there. And we can adjust this. I'm hoping to get this thread. It's actually not catching, it's actually catching on the back of the gearbox. So what I need to do is just try and lose some of the length. So again, if we try and line this up best as possible. Which way thread is this? Oops. Let's move it over here to give you some idea what I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to get this in to lose some of the length, to be able to pull the rod back because it's clashing with the back of the gearbox. So again, I'm just trying to lift the housing up as high as possible. So if I can't take that out, I want to actually, let's think about this logically. Pragmatically, let's lift this out of here. Let's take the rod out. Let's screw the rod in. I'm now I've wrapped up the rod, try not to scratch everything. I'm trying to keep all nice and tidy and painted. Pop that back through the hole. Feed that back in. Like so. If I can lift that up a bit. It's looking good. Okay, so got that back in. Hole is looking good. I'm well chuffed with that for eyeballing it. A little bit of wire. Let's not get too cocky. These kind of things normally come back and bite me. That can go in there. So let's just pop that in. Maybe doing this all completely backwards. I should read the instructions, but I like to kind of go with the flow. That is all done. So let's have a quick look underneath the back of the car. And I'm thinking I might need to cut this hole down a little bit more to give myself a little bit more drop, because this rod here is catching the back of the gearbox just there. So I'm going to pull that back out and then just take another notch out of here, so giving me a little bit more to be able to drop down. Interesting, I had to cut the top part to be able to get it in originally, so you are going to be left with quite an elongated hole, I think. So I'll drill a hole here, put my step drill bit in, and get that sorted. So back to you in a sec. Now, all my videos are first time, let's have a go, see how I get on. So if you are a layman in the sense of mechanical and engineering backgrounds like I am, let's just give it a bash, see how it works. So you can see if I can do it, you guys can do it, kind of scenario. This unscrews, and I'll show you what I mean. Like so. I couldn't get this off. This was so tight on here. I assumed this was one assembly. So then I went down to this end thinking I might need to release it from here. Now it does say in the instructions a roll pin, but I couldn't find a roll pin because I couldn't actually undo this. It was so tight, and I didn't want to damage this lovely aluminium collar with pliers, and I was totally unaware that that actually did come off. So something KAD could do in their instructions is spend a little bit of time just showing that as a diagram, that's what you need to get off. So obviously not knowing how this setup worked, there is actually a cable with a loop up the top that goes around this roll pin, runs down side. There is a metal washer with a spring, and then you've got this pull spring. If I squeeze this, it goes in and out. So, me being me, thinking there's a grub screw there. Maybe they meant grub screw, not roll pin, because I couldn't find a roll pin. I undone this, pulled this off of a very, very tight cable, very much interference fit, and it still didn't release this. And I needed to get this collar here, which holds the spring, obviously over the top, of which you need to file out with a round file multiple times to make sure you get that nice snug fit. It's just so I can get these two onto the gear lever, and that was been an absolute nightmare, because trying to get that cable back into this, as you can see just there, all the way through a grub screw hole, which when the wire, as you know, just wants to expand like a, well, yeah, just like expand like an octopus legs. It's been so difficult, so difficult. 4 hours trying to get that back into there. Finally did it through the joy of some PTFE tape. I got it onto the end of the cable and wrapped it really tightly, and managed to squeeze it, because obviously it being so thin, through the hole. Oh, it has been an absolute nightmare. So do not undo that grub screw and pull it out, whatever you do. Persevere with this, get that off, and then there's your roll pin. It does say roll pin in the instructions, to be fair. It does say roll pin. I couldn't find the roll pin because, as you saw a second ago, that was over there. And I think the aluminium had fused to the metal, causing it to be extremely tight, and I just couldn't undo it. So, yeah, I've now got that on. The gear knob goes onto there. Job done. But, yeah, absolute frigging nightmare. Absolute frigging nightmare. So, hopefully, out of anything, this video will show you how this gear lever comes apart to get this collar on. Now, to this normal person, that might seem quite straightforward, but to me, it did not. Let's get this in the car, and, yeah, let's see if it works. Okay, so we are all done. Back's all fixed in, pop riveted all in, nice and tight. This is all bolted in. It's proper stout. I've just got to stick the reversing switch in, which we've got, which is no problem. Hole on the floor, not too bad. And as you'll see there, for those people that are thinking of doing this, my hole's a little bit large. It was all through guesstimate. You have to go slightly higher, albeit to get the rod through and for it to work, but I went too far to the left. But the dimensions from the center of the nut, both over here and here, so the center of the nut measures 30.5 centimeters, 14.6 centimeters from the center of that nut to that line, and then 9 centimeters down is where you want to drill the hole. And I think that's imperative, because I could not get anybody to give me those measurements. And I've got to literally just, like I say, you only need a couple of mil. It doesn't move too much. There's a big enough gap there, but obviously it is quite a big gap on the left-hand side. I will fill that eventually when I take the subframe out and do my engine. I'm going to weld in a plate and make this a little bit smaller, but no dramas. But it's in. It looks cool, but that's your dimensions if you're doing it. The centre nut, like I say, this is a bit of a peg. It's trying to get this. I've still got to do a little bit of adjustment. I need to get this slightly straighter, just for neutral. There's neutral just there. And obviously first, second, third, fourth. There's a lovely short shift. Pull that up. And then obviously into reverse. But obviously I just need to get the car moving, because I've been playing around with this quite a lot. So, but all the nuts are done up tight. It's all fastened underneath. So, one internal gear linkage all fitted in my Mini. Best thing now, put the KAD sticker on. Let's quickly do that and finish it off. So there we have it. Stickers on, it's all finished. I wish I had those dimensions. That hole is a little bit large for my liking, but never mind. Do you live and learn? And again, just for you lovely people, that is the dimensions that you need just there. For you people that want to fit one, because that is so important to know. And like I say, it's getting this gear lever, that's fully packed with now grease, etc. Got some interesting other stuff coming though. Got a new steering wheel, something that makes the steering wheel come off a little bit easier, and something that goes down to the steering rack as well being replaced. I won't let you into too much. You'll have to subscribe, you'll have to like my channel, and then I can take you along the journey, because all this stuff I've never done before, it's all new to me, and hopefully you would have found it interesting and intuitive. It's the first time hit that I have a go at stuff, and no doubt I've made some errors, and I have made some errors, yeah, so it's all a learning curve. But don't forget though, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. More mini content coming, and thank you very much indeed for watching. So signing off for part 2 of the KAD Internal Gear Linkage Change Kit, and thank you once again. I will see you all very soon.